Hello everyone, my name is Patrick O'Brien, and this is my presentation focused on creating a newsletter for the East Vail Pass Wildlife Corridor project. The area of study will be East Vail Pass, which is located in the mountains of Colorado in between the Copper Mountain Resort and the summit of Vail Pass. This area has long been identified as one of the most important wildlife movement areas in Colorado. While the target species for this project will be mule deer and elk, several species will be able to utilize these corridors, including bear, moose, lynx, bobcat, and marten. For my project, I am working with an organization called Rocky Mountain Wild that is based out of Denver, Colorado. Rocky Mountain Wild was founded in 2008 when two conservation organizations, Center for Native Ecosystems and Colorado Wild, joined forces to create one organization. Since that point, Rocky Mountain Wild has been working to create a biologically healthy future for the southern Rocky Mountain region. Rocky Mountain Wild is working on a number of projects throughout the region, with one of the largest ones being the Colorado Corridors project. I will be creating a newsletter that will be sent out to the public about the Corridor project. This newsletter will be used in a collaborative effort between Rocky Mountain Wild, the Denver Zoo, and the National Forest Service. The newsletter will be used to educate the public about wildlife corridors and the proposed project slated to be completed on East Vail Pass. In order to best educate the public, several sections will need to be included in the newsletter. The sections to be included are an update on the project and what progress has been made, a visual description of why wildlife crossings are important, and what goes into the construction of a project like this one. Next will be a species spotlight. This section will highlight one species that resides in the area, and will use the corridors when they are completed. For this newsletter, elk will be the highlighted species. Closing out the newsletter will be a reading list from successful wildlife corridors around the world and the benefits they are bringing to wildlife and humans alike. The Colorado Corridors project on East Vail Pass started in 2020 as part of a larger project called Summit County Safe Passages. The purpose of this project is to collect data before and after the proposed construction of 3 wildlife corridors on the westbound side of I-70. This data is being collected by the use of 40 game cameras set up in a specific study area on both sides of the highway. These cameras will capture pictures of wildlife and if their movements were changed by the construction of these corridors. The Colorado Corridors project hopes to increase wildlife movement along the highway and reconnect habitat that has been fragmented by the construction of I-70. My main goal for the newsletter is to educate and engage the public on the progress of the project and why wildlife corridors are necessary. Since these projects are often funded in part by tax dollars, it is important to gain support among the public. I hope to provide clear and consistent information about what wildlife corridors are, how they work, and why they are necessary. I have noticed when talking to people about wildlife corridors, there is a general lack of knowledge about the issue for individuals that do not work in the field. I hope this newsletter will, in part, help shed some light on the issue so it will gain support around the state and hopefully country. Fortunately, this topic can be sold in a variety of ways to the public. The first and most obvious is benefit for wildlife. Corridors have many benefits for wildlife. They reconnect habitat that has been fragmented by highways and fences. By reconnecting this habitat, animals will be able to move more freely, which will lead to greater biodiversity, more access to food, water, and shelter, and the ability for many species to move along their instinctual migration routes. All of this will lead to healthier wildlife populations. The other major benefit wildlife corridors will have is protecting human health and well-being by preventing collisions between wildlife and vehicles. Every year in the United States, an estimated 1.5 million collisions occur between vehicles and large animals. These collisions result in around 200 human deaths and over 26,000 injuries. Since wildlife corridors have so many potential benefits, it should be a relatively easy sell to the public, even in the type of climate we are living in today, when every topic seems to be polarizing. The important task that must be accomplished is getting the word out about wildlife corridors and the positive impacts they can have on wildlife and humans alike. With more people being educated and exposed to these benefits, the hope is more projects similar to the Colorado Corridors project will be completed, which will lead to a healthier biological future for many wildlife species and safer areas for humans to travel through. Thank you for watching my presentation, and I look forward to any feedback you might have.